Okay, I've got a test here. Which of these 2020 Democrats agrees with you most? Joe's been going through and taking the quiz. The quiz is 20 questions.
I'm currently on question 12.
I'm going to burn through these things, all right? Question 1. We're going to find out who agrees with me the most. Who is the candidate with the highest likelihood to be converted into being sane? You ready? Here we go. By the way, watch the live stream at youtube.com/Casey the host or twitch.tv/Casey the host. Some gun control act advocates have called for a federal registry of guns. Federal law blank require gun owners to register every firearm they own. Should or should not? Should not. Federal government should not require a registry. Duh. And then what they do is they give you a list of candidates who agree with you. So Biden, Bloomberg, Buttigieg, Sanders, and Steyer, they say agree with me, which doesn't make any dang sense if you paid attention to anyone's political careers. But I digress. Recreational marijuana should be, be legalized federally, be decriminalized and left up to the states to legalize, or remain illegal federally. Be legalized federally. How about that? I'm going to do that. I go back and forth between that one and the states one, but I do the federal one because of banking. Let's see. Question 3. Fracking has contributed to a boom in U.S. oil and gas production in the past decade, but it can affect the environment through groundwater contamination. No, it can't. And continued reliance on fossil fuels. The U.S. should blank fracking, ban all, limit or better regulate or maintain current policy on. Again, that is a dumb selection of answers because limiting or better regulating are two very, very different things. And maintaining current policy doesn't necessarily provide any room for advancement. So I'm just going to say maintain current policy because that's the best of all. None of the candidates agree with me. They all hate fracking. Number 4, all Democratic candidates support increasing income tax on the wealthy because they're dumb. But some are also proposing a tax on the net worth of extremely wealthy individuals rather than just on their income. Should the United States blank enact a wealth tax? Should or should not? Should not. Of course not. That's dumb. You've already been taxed. Anyway, the United States should not enact a wealth tax. Biden, Bloomberg, and Yang apparently agree with me on that. I don't know about the Yang thing. Some Americans currently get their health insurance through federal programs like Medicare and Medicaid. Government-run health insurance blank should cover everyone, should be an option for everyone, should not be available to everyone, should not be available to everyone. Duh. So government-run health insurance should not be available to everyone. They didn't have an option of shouldn't even exist. You notice that? They didn't even have that option. None of the candidates agree with me. The U.S. blank consider setting a price on carbon emissions, such as with a carbon tax or a cap and trade. The U.S. should or should not consider it. Should not consider it because it's a dumb policy. 2 states allow all individuals to vote from prison. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. 2 states allow people to vote from prison. And many states restrict voting for convicted felons after release. Blank should be able to vote. All prisoners should be able to vote. Some prisoners should be able to vote only after release. All prisoners only after release. Some prisoners. Okay. See, this is a tough one because I think when you serve your time, you serve your time, but some people should never be let out. So I'm just going to say only after release, all prisoners. All right. If they deem you worthy of release, I guess you should be able to vote. Not that your release is justified. Current law prohibits the use of federal funding for abortions. Not exactly. Except in cases of rape, incest, and when the health of the mother is at risk. Federal funding for abortions should or should not be restricted. Federal funding for abortions should be restricted. I wish it were non-existent, but I digress. A universal basic income would give every adult a monthly payment from the federal government. The U.S. should or should not consider a universal basic income. Should not, because, again, basic fundamental economics and math. Under an employment agreement, every American would be entitled to a government job. Wait, what? Under an employment guarantee, every American would be entitled to a government job if they want it. Can you imagine the crap that they would fabricate and make up to give everybody a government job? And who wouldn't want a government job? Most government jobs pay more than the private sector. Most of them do. Some don't, but most of them do. And you get more time off and you get better benefits. So the U.S. should or should not consider enacting a jobs guarantee. Absolutely should not. I can only imagine the kind of garbage you would come up with as a job that the government would give you. The Obama administration focused its deportation efforts on three groups: recent border crossers, convicted criminals, and national security threats. The U.S. should either halt deportations, focus on convicted criminals and threats only, focus on all three groups, aim to deport anyone in the country illegally. Aim to deport anyone in the country illegally. Who else do we have? Nobody agrees with me on that one. Number 12. Health care for many Americans is provided by private insurance plans paid through their employers. In an overhaul of the American healthcare system, private insurance should either be eliminated or continue to exist. Private insurance continues to exist in those socialist countries, too, with universal health care. Not all of them are socialist countries. The socialist programs in those countries, okay? I talk about Canada all the time. Most people don't realize you have to have private insurance in Canada, and the UK, it's beneficial as well. All right, number 13. Again, we're taking a quiz done by the Washington Post on which Democratic candidate agrees with me the most. Number 13. The United States currently requires employers to provide 12 weeks of unpaid family leave, but no paid family leave. The United States should guarantee either more than 12 weeks of paid family leave for workers, 12 weeks, or fewer than 12 weeks. The United States should guarantee. They don't give you the option to say shouldn't guarantee jack squat. So I guess I'm going with fewer than 12 weeks. The government shouldn't do that. Now, if you're a good employer, okay, and you want to retain the best possible talent and you want to be competitive, you'll come up with a plan that helps your employees for this stuff. But the government shouldn't have a say in all of that. All right, in the past year, the U.S. government spent nearly $1 trillion more than it raised. But some argue that urgent policy initiatives should take priority over limiting the national debt. The president should or should not commit to stabilizing or lowering the national debt. Should commit to stabilizing or lowering the national debt. Now, here's what it says. It says, Biden, Bloomberg, Klobuchar, and Steyer agree with me, and yet every single one of them have policy positions that would not do that. Number 15. Got 5 more to go. The Supreme Court has had 9 justices since 1869. The president should or should not consider adding more justices to the Supreme Court to change its ideological balance. Should not. Elections have consequences. It's that simple. They shouldn't be lifetime appointments, but they didn't give me that option. So president should not consider adding more justices. Can you imagine the fiasco that would turn into? Good Lord. Nuclear power is the nation's largest carbon-neutral energy source, but high-profile accidents and the question of where to store the nuclear waste complicates its future. Not really if you know the issue. The government should either expand, pause the expansion of, or phase out nuclear power. Expand the snot out of it. Only Andrew Yang agrees with me on that. Jeez. The government should make 4 years of college free, debt-free, affordable for all families, including the wealthy. I guess affordable. It's like 3 loser answers. Anyway, number 18. Americans owe a record $1.6 trillion in student debt, with 2 in 10 borrowers behind on their payments, according to the Federal Reserve. Student loan debt should be canceled for everyone, canceled for lower incomes, reduced but not outright canceled, or left alone. Left alone. Sorry. Look, as somebody who recently paid off, I guess it's a year ago now, paid off my student debt, I get it. I really do. But it's on you to not screw up and waste money. All right? If you enter into a high-interest loan, that's on you. It's not on anybody else. All right. In 2016, Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton received more votes than Donald Trump but lost the election. The U.S. should consider or should not consider eliminating the existing electoral college system in favor of the popular vote. Should not consider because that's horrible. I do have an alternative that would be a happy medium between the two, which is an apportionment of the electoral votes in the state. So if you win 51% of the state, you only get 51% of their electoral votes. You don't get all of them. That's an idea that I have. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying it's an idea. And the final question. As president, Barack Obama spent years negotiating a free trade pact with countries bordering the Pacific Ocean to counterbalance China's economic might in the region. Hillary Clinton opposed it in 2016, and President Trump withdrew from the agreement. The United States should consider or should not consider joining the latest version of that agreement. Should not consider. We have proven that we don't need that to counteract the China issue. President's already fixed that. Okay. Let's see. Who agrees with you the most or the least? Your answers are below, along with whether the candidate agrees or disagrees. So they don't have like one answer here for all of this?
Well, it's like the person at the far left, the person at the left of the graph is the person you agreed with the most.
So technically, I agree with Bloomberg the most.
So do I.
Okay. So, which is hysterical because I absolutely hate Bloomberg. Biden next, Gabbard after that. I'm a little surprised. I mean, she's at least up at the top tier. I'm a little surprised that she's that low. Then Steyer, then Klobuchar, then Yang, then Buttigieg, then Sanders, and then Warren. So I only agree with Elizabeth Warren on 3 issues. So there you go. Technically, Bloomberg, who's the guy that sometimes is Republican, sometimes is Democrat, sometimes is moderate, sometimes is communist. Bloomberg is the guy that tends to agree with me the most. The funny thing is like the gun registry question, they have me agreeing with him. And but he doesn't think there should be a registry because he thinks they should be banned. Like it's not, he doesn't want a registry. He wants them banned. Anyway, we got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.